class this year was a close-knit group. There were only 4 students, but they were bonded like a small family. That doesn't mean they always got along, as families sometimes don't, but they were loyal and caring on a deep level to people who spent a lot of time with them. They were quiet and often a little sleepy. And similar to when a teacher spends a good part of her day trying to get the very chatty kids to stop interrupting, I spent a good part of this year trying to get these students to answer my questions and participate more in discussions. Because as you see, I am one of the chatty kids. They tolerated me well. They were a very trustworthy group. In fact, the other day, by accident, I left our Google meeting while trying to share a document, and I wasn't sure if I could get back in or that they would be there. But I clicked on the link, and sure enough, there they all were, waiting for me to return. They also know this type of behavior is a bit the norm for their somewhat beloved teacher. Our first student speaker is both loyal and creative. I believe it's fair to say that this student was somewhat disappointed to be assigned the shorter, beardless teacher for his 8th grade year. He is a loyal guy, though, and never complained. Each year, a classroom naturally develops a vibe, and after a quiet start, this individual showed his creative, humorous side, which we all enjoyed. He persevered to practice new learning strategies and develop a mindfulness of his strengths and weaknesses. If this individual had a kryptonite, though, it was homework. Although he dutifully wasted no time starting assignments in class, sometimes even jumping ahead, his homework was usually forgotten and his backpack unopened. Then came distance learning, and he really thrived, perhaps because assignments weren't viewed as homework, even though they were completed at home. His humorous side tolerated me making comments about my desire to see more than the top of his head during our Google meetings. And although you'd be surprised how much the norm this was for all of our students in middle school, he didn't let the change to return to online learning hinder his academics, and in addition to becoming a much stronger self-advocate, truly shine through to the end of the school year. Here is Aaron's speech.
Hello, my name is Aaron Sabatine. Attending Hillside was one of the best experiences I've had with the school in all my years of learning. One of my favorite memories from Hillside is the hands-on learning we did with science. Interacting with experiments and materials helped me better understand the tasks at hand. An example of one of my favorite experiments we did was a fire experiment. We got to change the color of the flames and see how they reacted to different chemicals. I feel like my learning style needs to include a lot of touching and feeling to understand new things I'm being taught, especially with all the new ways of learning I'm being taught while at school. One of the different way of learning that helped me the most was taking things slow and focusing on the small details in different assignments. This method of working helped me the most with my math and science classes. Last, my Hillside experience was so excellent due to my wonderful classmates. My class was very small, which helped me make friends easier and have more personal experience with my teachers and friends. And my classmates in particular improved my time at Hillside because of all the laughs we shared and the memories we made, especially around Halloween time when we were creating our scarecrow. Making all these friends also helped me work on my social skills, which will come in handy when I eventually go to a public school. Sadly, my Hillside experience was cut short due to the COVID-19 virus that spread in the early 2020. I won't be able to have a proper graduation or get to say goodbye to all my friends and teachers at the end of the year. But this break we've all had from school has taught me no matter what challenges stand in our way, we will always be able to overcome them with strong teachers and friends by our side. Next year I'm going to a great high school and I hope I do well in this new place. I know it's going to be challenging, but I'm sure if I try a little harder, I will do well. One of the most important things I will take with me from Hillside is how they taught me to put my homework into an assignment book to stay organized. I hope all the other students that are also graduating today have a great school year next year. And thank you to Hillside for being the best learning experience. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for enrolling me into Hillside, and to my brother, Ian, for being my tutor for online learning for COVID-19.
2 words that describe Room 12's first graduate of 2020 are humor and intellect. I know that some would describe this young man as reserved or shy, but I challenge you to find a video or find a chance to visit room 12 at some point, and you would have seen this fellow laughing, making you laugh with one of his routine jokes that happened daily. Nobody was as diligent as this young man taking care of our trout or calling a classmate out when they missed their job for the week or the day. From morning announcements to 12 angry men, from the science lab to the recess yard, charisma was never in short supply with this fellow. I've had him for 2 years in math for both pre-algebra and for algebra, and he is a far quicker thinker than I am. Uh, he would always fill me in with the numbers, though that did pertain to math class. It would also pertain to sports. If I missed the game the night before, I would come in and I know that he would fill me in on the stats, the players, the score, everything that happened, who scored, who didn't, who's injured, what they injured. Um, and I appreciate those fill-ins, especially when I know that he also played fantasy football, as did I, so I was always looking for that edge up in my league. I could always count on this kid. You want to talk a little bit about knowledge? You can ask him random trivia questions, as seen on our daily viewings of CNN 10 with Carl Azuz, and he would be able to get the correct answer in the trivia games at least 80% of the time, to the point where I was thinking maybe he was watching each episode before he came to school that day, which I knew wasn't true, but he was just spot on with all of this knowledge and trivia. Such a smart kid. Um, I always thought that we would play a piano duet together, and I thought maybe today would be that day. But just know that I'm going to cash that in one day, sir, and we will play a piano duet together with my talented voice and your wonderful fingers on the keys. Um, so we'll definitely have to make that happen. I'm very proud to present from room 12 our first graduate, Quinn Fitzpatrick.
Good morning. I bet you heard that a couple of years at Hillside. I'm Quinn. I'm here to tell you about my experience at Hillside. I've been going to Hillside for about 3.5 years. When I first came, I was a little bit shy because it was like a new environment, but then I soon learned I had dyslexia, reading order, but smaller classes I soon learned to like because it felt like you got to know all your classmates well. Hillside has helped me better at stuff over the years. I've not been a good writer, but Hillside has helped me with that with brain frames. Brain frames has helped me make better writing pieces over the years. One of my favorite memories at Hillside is the dunk tank. You can get all the grudges out on the teachers. Or the trout projects. We get trout every year in 8th grade, and one fish got a broken spine. So we called him C-Note, and he lived longer than expected with a broken spine. Leaving Hillside, I plan to attend a high school, still deciding between one. I'm going to try out for some good hockey teams. My final quote is that take advantage of what Hillside has to offer you. You're here for a reason. Use it to your
This next
advantage.
student is compassionate and organized. Today is a proud day for this student, but a uniquely sad day for me because I'm losing one of my best classroom assistants. This student and I had a bit of extra time together throughout the school year since she was my only bus rider and arrived to class at the usual start time and never missed a day. We had some extra time to chat and plan for the day while waiting for her peers to arrive. One day, she was even the only one left during an early dismissal day. She is also very generous with her talents, one of which is organizing and cleaning. It is safe to say that we had the cleanest classroom in the school, and no COVID-19 could ever survive in this room. A few times I had to hide the Clorox wipes, and that was a good thing too, because who knew they would be gold nowadays? The biggest area of growth for this student was her own self-awareness. She was better able to communicate her thoughts using vocabulary and insight through her writing and showing compassion. towards the characters in our class reads. She practiced point of view and perspective, whether it was in a fiction book, a nonfiction article, historical research, or socializing with her peers. Even attempting to consider the perspective of a friend or classmate is difficult for any middle schooler. And even as adult folks, we have difficulty. We all have to continue to work on this throughout life, but caring about it is the biggest step of all, and this young person really cares. She also enjoys brightening the days of teachers and staff with kind words, notes, and artwork, and always letting others know she is thinking of them. She turned one of her free write journals into a letter to Hillside, which is proudly framed and posted in the main office. Here is Nicole's speech.
Hello, Hillside students and staff. My name is Nicole. I want to share with you how very grateful I am for your help in making me successful in school. I am sad that this is my last year here because I really wish that Hillside would go up to 12th grade. I have made a lot of good memories here with the teachers and friends. I love that you have assemblies every Friday because in my old school I would always wonder when the next one would be. I love how the number of kids in each class is small and not overwhelmingly big. I love that you welcome therapy dogs here. Even though Miss Lemoy isn't here all the time, I really enjoy seeing them. I want to thank the staff for all they do. I really want this school to continue to be amazing, so please continue to make Hillside and its students number one. When I first came here, I was very nervous getting used to a new school, but right away I became so comfortable here. I normally don't say that because I don't enjoy school very much, but I enjoy coming to school now that I've been in Hillside. But everyone in the school is just so amazing that I don't even know how to express my thanks to everyone for being so caring. A special thanks to my classmates, Bo, Aaron, Tori, and my teacher, Miss Settleman, and a very thankful shout out to my grandparents for getting me where I am today. And next year I will be attending Brandywine High School. I can't wait to come back and visit here to see how much more the school is accomplishing every day and every year. I will miss every single one of you. Thank you. Have a great summer.
Our next two words for a graduate of room 12, athletic and good at stuff, would be the two words he'd probably pick to describe himself. I, however, not to deny him his athletic ability and his good at stuffness, I think of him as in a little bit of a different light. Um, Plus, in terms of athleticism, I do think I got this kid out way more in silent ball and dodgeball than he got me. So my two words are leadership and etiquette. I don't think I've ever picked the word etiquette to describe a student before. However, the first day I had him as a seventh grader in my class, I don't think he said two words during our specialized reading class. However, on his way out the door, he said, "Thank you, Mr. L." I was kind of like, "Is this a joke? You're welcome." Okay. But from that day forward, every time he entered the building or the room, every time he left my room, it was, "Hello, Mr. Luchansky. See ya. Thank you, Mr. Luchansky." And I've gotten reports from other teachers that he was much the same in their classes as well. And I think that that's a really rare quality. Um, I don't think that I've heard many students religiously say, "Hello, goodbye, thank you." Three very small phrases that go a mile in making an impression. And that's really what this kid made a large impression on me. And it wasn't just if he aced the test or won the game. He could have had a day where he forgot his homework, left his material somewhere. Still, hello, goodbye, thank you. Um, there's a lot of people, not just students worldwide, that could take a lesson away from that. In terms of leadership, I do think I was harder on this student than perhaps um, some others in the past. But for the most part, despite a few grape sized bumps in the road along the way, he was a fantastic leader, not just for room 12, but for all of Hillside this year. And I appreciate that very much. Um, I would like to introduce and welcome and congratulate Anthony Martinez as your next Hillside 2020 graduate. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Anthony Martinez, and this is my second year at Hillside. I was at St. Thomas More before I came to Hillside. I will be attending Bethlehem Catholic High School next year. Hillside has helped me a lot with my reading and writing. The brain frames and Fred templates have helped me a lot. They help me stay organized and get a lot of information. A few of my favorite memories at Hillside are the chat in the classroom and all the fun things we did in Mr. L's class every day. I really like the chat in the classroom because I've never had a fish tank in a classroom or at home before, so I thought that was cool. Some of the fun things that we did in Mr. L's class is we played dodgeball or knockout every Tuesday after we set up tables for lunch. Hillside has taught me a lot of things, and I think one of the most important things is leadership. If you aren't a good role model or leader, the students younger than you won't be. Now I'd like to thank all the teachers and my mom and dad for everything they did for me. If I have any advice for anyone, it's to not throw grapes in the lunchroom.
Our next two words are authenticity and caring. And for this Hillside Room 12 graduate, those things didn't come in short supply. By authenticity, I mean she will just tell you like it is, how she sees it, her point of view. And that ability to be honest and direct is always appreciated in a school or a world where people sometimes will manipulate or tell you what you want to hear. It's really refreshing to have a student who can just be honest and honest to her classmates, myself, and herself. Helped make a difference every day and show people that what she said could be taken at face value. Authenticity goes along with caring here because she would often say, "Little kids drive me nuts." But that phrase, "drive me nuts," sort of took on new meaning in the way that this student would show how she cared about her fellow student body. Those same little kids that drove her nuts were the ones that she was helping at lunchtime, the ones that she was helping or spending time with during morning exercise or a whole school assembly. She was the same little Hillsiders who she was walking with at recess. And so it seems that if she has ever told you that you drive her nuts, that's just a really specific way for this student to tell you she cares a lot about you. She is, I don't think anybody would accuse this student of being a morning person, as discovered in our distance learning instruction. But one of my favorite memories is when she took I don't think she was feeling well. She took a small nap in room 12, and I got everybody to leave the room quietly. And then with my wireless speaker, we started blasting "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star." Well, she jumped up. She was scared, probably a mix of angry, but she didn't really show it. She just hopped up, was kind of like, "What?" for a second. And then she just grabbed her books and went to math. So even if people got under her skin, I think she did a really good job of regulating and just taking care of business on her end. She utilizes self-advocacy to its fullest. She's no stranger to the assistive technology that we utilize here. She really embodies the Hillside idea of specialized instruction. She played a part in her own learning throughout the year. I was just thrilled that I got to have her as a leader in our classroom. I think our fellow Room 12ers were, and it is my honor to introduce Alexis Gotel as your next Hillside 2020
Hello,
graduate.
my name is Alexis Gotel, and I was diagnosed with dyslexia in the 3rd grade. I've been to 3 schools before I came to Hillside. I was at Circle Seasons Charter School, and I was at a stopping point in my life. I was just stuck academically. I had such a hard time reading and writing and just doing all my schoolwork. My parents and I came to a point where I had to switch schools, so they found Hillside. Then I went and shadowed somebody, and I instantly knew that this is where I had to go. This is where I was going to become unstuck. So I started my 7th grade year in Miss Hefner's class. And in just 1 year, I improved a lot. I learned how to use brain frames to organize your thoughts while writing. And Hillside has a lot of assistive technology that can read things to you. Then 8th grade rolled around, and I was in Mr. L's class. And oh, did I have the time of my life. Our class became closer and closer every day, and I feel like we're brother and sisters now. We had a lot of laughs together. That's what I think I'll miss the most when I leave Hillside. What I learned from Hillside that I'll be taking with me to high school is to always be yourself. I'll be attending Bethlehem Catholic High School, and after high school, I would like to go to Wharton University to study business. I would like to thank Miss Hefner for a great 7th grade year and for always being so compassionate. I would like to thank Miss Durrell for an amazing 8th grade year and for always making me laugh. I would like to thank Miss Halaska, my math teacher, for always caring about me. I would like to thank Dr. Kibblebeck for a great science class. I would like to thank Miss Edelman for always pushing us to go the extra mile in civics class. And I would like to thank Miss Bauer for inspiring me to draw every night at home. I would like to especially thank Mrs. Henry and Mrs. Fatsinger for helping me figure out my high school situations and for always being there for me. I would especially like to thank my parents for the opportunity for allowing me to be at Hillside. Without you, I would not be able to write this speech.
This next student was both creative and analytical. The battle cry of this student was games, games, games. In fact, if I could have met this student's mantra of making all of 8th grade one big game, I might have seen him arrive at 8:30 every day instead of 8:50. Seriously, though, this student has made an incredible amount of progress in his time at Hillside, especially in regard to executive skills, flexibility and advocacy, and reading and writing. The fact that he can calmly and persistently remind a teacher that learning should be more creative through engaging interactive learning and rewarding games, as well as graciously laugh and lose when the need arises, is phenomenal growth and perseverance. Speaking of creativity, I sometimes think this student was creative to a fault, simply because he puts a lot of pressure on himself to maintain a high level of uniqueness that resists the mundane. When in the creative zone, though, he shines. He often has a creative solution to problems, and he excelled at descriptive writing. He was connected to science and STEAM class and incorporated design into his how-to essay by making an arrow launcher out of K'NEX. I had to duck quite a few times with that one. He enjoys opportunities to discuss a variety of topics and may even have convinced me that gold comes from stars with his persuasive essay. Truth be told, this student holds all the cards in his future, deciding when to accept some of the mundane while striving for creative glory, of which I am confident he will do both. And if we think of distance learning as a 12-week video game with quite the number of challenging levels, he has persevered and won with flying colors. Here is Bo's speech.
Good morning, Hillside. It's Bo, and I'm happy to see you all here. This year and Hillside in general have been the best of my life. And I'm happy to talk about all the amazing friends I've made here. Like Nicole, Aaron, and Gio. And you always can't forget about those fun events like the rigorous bike and boat. And us supporting Mr. Redmond on his Appalachian hike. And also, I have to thank Hillside for all those fun and amazing skills they've taught me. Like how to split words into pieces instead of just forgetting it in general. Or like how to calm down or how to control my temper so it's easier to interact with people. And so, sadly, the year must come to an end. And so, I wish you all a healthy and happy summer.
For the next Room 12 graduate, I've picked the words humility and thoughtfulness. Here's a Hillsider who's been with us for about 5 years. Before this year, I think I heard him say about 10 words combined. So we also have a student here that knows more about history books than the history book that sits in my classroom that I teach twice a week. He knows all about Fortnite dances. I don't think he'll show you, though. And he knows quite a bit about self-regulation. His behavior could be compared to a Boy Scout, perhaps because he is, in fact, a Boy Scout. He took Room 12 on a creative writing journey this year, in which we were permitted to time travel in an entire series every five journals when we did free writes. And then a little bit surprisingly, everybody in those time traveling journals made it back in one piece, including his sister, which I was pleased to report. And so we talked a lot about these attributes, about all these great things that this student has done. And indeed, he does know a lot about a lot of things, and he contributes in a lot of different ways. Humility comes into play because he would never brag about these talents. He would never toot his own horn and talk about the many things that he's done or capable of. However, a little bit of humbleness will go a long way in the future too, and his ability to show humility and be thoughtful will do nothing but help him in the future. He's an avid gamer, and I think he's the only student to pass through the hallways of Hillside and come away in 2 separate years with 2 Gamer of the Week awards from our Wednesday middle school clubs, in which his classmates voted him as Gamer of the Week. So tip of the cap to you there, buddy. I'm really pleased to be able to introduce this young man. He's been a silent leader of Room 12 all year, and I'm happy to introduce you to our next Room 12 graduate, Giovanni Camioni. Thank
Hello,
you.
my name is Gio, and when I first came to Hillside, I was really confused. I didn't really know what was happening, mostly because I was only in 4th grade. All I knew is that when I was failing my grades. When I first stepped into the building, I was really scared because everyone I knew was gone, and I thought the teachers were going to be really mean because it was a private school. And so when I went to sit down, I just found an empty table and just sat there. When it came time to go to recess, I was walking under the shade so nobody saw me. After a few days, I was talking to a few people, but I wouldn't really call them friends yet. But I just talked with them. Fast forward like 4.5 years, I'm in 8th grade, and I have some pretty good friends, and I'm doing a lot better in my grades, I would say. I would say the thing that helped me the most is probably the brain frames, because they helped me organize my thoughts and made it much easier to write. And back then, I used to hate writing because I didn't really know what to write or how to say it. Now I really like writing. It's really fun because when you write, it gives you a really creative mind. And it's really fun to write about whatever you like. And after summer break, I'm going to attend Freedom High School. All I have to say is use brain frames and don't do drugs.
This next student is both social and determined. You might think that being social is not much of a skill for an 8th grader, but trust me, it is. It's like a superpower that needs to be used correctly and in the right situations. If I needed to know what was new in fashion, social media, or horseback riding, this next student was my go-to girl. She often tried to steer the social conversation of her classmates at lunch and during downtime, talking about topics not related to our assignments. It was so freeing, and we enjoyed getting to see a different side of a classmate. She truly worked hard and improved leaps and bounds with her reading and writing and vocabulary this year. Her writing always improved, though, if the choice of topics included horses, training horses, caring for horses, competing in horse shows, and such. Her extensive vocabulary of dressage, equine care, and text acronyms, BBF, Barn Besties Forever, I know I didn't get that right, was beyond grade level. Sometimes the student would get a bit anxious about her schoolwork, understanding the directions and completing it on time, but she always wanted to do her best. I hope she has learned to advocate and ask for help, and always keep trying her best. Here is Victoria's speech.
Hi, my name is Victoria Berg. When I first came to Hillside in 3rd grade, I was shy and had difficulty reading and comprehension. But with amazing teachers and small classroom sizes and my learning tools, I was able to get the assistance that I needed to become the person I am today. I'm able to stand to my fellow classmates and give speeches and write essays. Because of Hillside, I now have some great friends who support me. Hillside has helped me to believe in myself and taught me to accomplish anything that I put my mind to it. Let me tell you some of my fond memories at Hillside. First of all, there was our field trip to Gettysburg and our bike and boat, which was a lot of fun. We splashed each other while canoeing down the canal. I enjoyed all the time outside with my friends and the teachers. I wish we were able to do field trips again this year. Another fun time was making videos in Mrs. Hanasek's class. We just had a good time all together while getting to know each other. My hopes for the future to accomplish high school at Pleasant Valley. and eventually a college to my future dreams with equine care specializing in acupuncture, chiropractic, and massage therapy for horses. I will also like to future my dreams with ultrasonography. Finally, I would like to thank all my teachers throughout the years and the staff and my fellow classmates and friends. And special thank you to my mom, dad, Aunt Maura, and grandfather for supporting me and helping me strengthen my education by driving me to and from school every day. Thank you.
For our last Room 12 graduate, I have two words that may not seem at first like they go well together: courage and effort. Effort is something that every teacher, every student would love to possess. It's not always easy, um, but it's something that is sort of earned. And courage is something that maybe one wouldn't think belongs in school at all or doesn't often come into play. This year showed us that courage played a very large part of all of our students' years with the strike of COVID-19 and our distance learning instruction. This is another student who's been at Hillside for years, but I haven't had the opportunity to really work with her until 2019. I would argue that part of a teacher's job is to reaffirm students. But on the other hand, I think this young lady did a good amount of reaffirming to me. Work ethic, simply off the charts, showed me what it meant to really work. I would talk a lot about not just finishing something, not just getting it done, but completing it, doing it to your best capabilities. And this student reminded me of what best capabilities really were. Her work ethic didn't just stay in the classroom. She works ahead to her fullest potential on each assignment and every challenge, whether it's sports or life. This young lady works as hard as she can and triumphs over any trial and tribulation that comes her way. My dessert consumption has skyrocketed thanks to her ability to bake. And across the board, she's just simply a wonderful person and student, but I'll remember math class the most. Her work ethic applied to many subjects: science, English, vocabulary. But math isn't something that came very easy for her. It's something that she needed to work as hard as she could to feel like she was succeeding. And indeed, she did. She worked hard. She grinded it out. She was nervous at the beginning of the year. Not every lesson was very simple. But through her advocacy and her sheer will to succeed, she worked her way through it and came out of this year on top, ready for high school mathematics. She isn't afraid to ask for help, but craves the ability to independently master just about every topic we have covered. I've recently called her Dr. Doolittle because of her ability to tame and love the many pets that she owns and cares for. I always knew all year long that she had pets, but only since our many Zoom sessions have I gotten to see Freckles the hen, and she's got roosters. Her parrot recently attacked her. Just kidding, the parrot's very nice. She's got French pit bulls, and she's got Honey, the new, that's Luna, and she's got Honey, her baby golden retriever. And all of the pets are just swarming her because she loves them and works just as hard with them as she does in our classroom. It's a very rare quality for a middle schooler to have. But her capacity for courage and efforts know no bounds from what I've seen. This is certainly someone I'd like to be like when I fully grow up. And I'm extremely proud to introduce Room 12's final graduate of 2020, Olivia Lampron.
Hi,
Thank you.
I'm Olivia, and I sit before you looking back on 4 years of determination, confidence, and hard work. When I first started attending Hillside, I was hopeless, and all I thought was that nobody could help me. I didn't really understand anything I read. I would read it multiple times and still not know what I read. I didn't think some silly private school would help. Little did I know it would change my world. See, it wasn't that easy though, basically teaching myself how to process information again. The good thing though was that I never gave up. 5th, 6th, and 7th grade were tough. I really didn't pay much attention and easily got distracted with friends. When 8th grade hit, something just changed, and I out a little bit rocky, forgetting my books a lot, and just getting my work done, but not complete. Then about 2 months into school, something sparked and I started getting my work done, and even going the extra mile to work ahead, which I had never done in my life. My parents and teachers were amazed. One thing I think I'll miss the most is the amazing bond our class had. The second thing I'll miss the most is the way we all could joke with each other and just laugh all day. It's going to be hard saying bye to this school, but before I leave, I want to thank everybody who has shaped me the way I am today. My parents, Mr. L., Mrs. Edelman, Ms. Hefner, Mrs. Hanasek, Mrs. Halaska, Mrs. Kunzman, Mrs. D'Angelo, Mrs. Sontag, and Mrs. Glazer. I would especially like to thank Dr. Kibblebeck for encouraging me to become an environmental scientist when I'm older. And thank you, everybody. I also would proudly like to say I'll be attending Berks Catholic High School next year. Thank you again for everything you have done to help me be the person I am today.
Students, parents, and families, thank you so much for everything this entire school year. And a massive congratulations to all of our graduates of 2020. You are now and forever will be a part of our Hillside family. Teachers, staff, and administration of Hillside, thank you for everything you've done for these young adults as they reach the first page of the rest of their lives. We love these students. We'll miss them and everything that they brought to our school and our lives dearly. This day, graduates of Hillside's 2020 class belongs to you. Hope to see you very soon, and congratulations.